Hello?
Beep, 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 beep. Morning all. How you doing? I've been a mulling. You know I have a tendency to mull. I've been mulling. I'll tell you why. Because I had a dream. It's sort of slightly Martin Luther King, isn't it? I had a dream, except it's hairier. Because I had a dream about werewolves. Right? In which I was besieged by werewolves whilst residing in a small camper van in a forest. I don't know where it came from. And it was one of those camper vans with like the roof that goes up like an accordion. It wasn't even a decent camper van. And there was I stuck being surrounded by werewolves. And the only thing that I had as a weapon was shaving foam. Right? Now, don't get all Freud on me. I don't want to go there. Okay? But it got me thinking about werewolves. So stay with me as we speak about werewolves, my usual lunacy. Now, there's an article to go with this. If you want to read it, it's on my Substack. If you want to watch this video without adverts, you can take out a Substack subscription. It's on there. All right. Other than that, it's also on my articles on Twitter. So you've got both. You've got it's a short article about werewolves. Right. I've touched on this before, but it came back to me again. And I was thinking about, I've always loved a good werewolf. Do you remember The Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr.? When I was a kid, it used to be on a Saturday night. And I'd be like, I want to watch Transformation and all that stuff. And then when I got to be a little bit older, we eventually got two superb movies in the shape of The Howling and an American Werewolf in London, which both went head to head one year. That used to happen years ago. Do you remember? You'd have two disease movies or two ghost movies, or they went head to head, and they both had transformation scenes that were different, but at the time were utterly groundbreaking. You know, American Werewolf was quite comedic generally. Howling had its humour, but it was more serious. I preferred the transformation in The Howling, truth be told, because it was gorier. But the transformation in American Werewolf in London was so brilliant because it took place in a brightly lit area, and the film itself, directed by John Landis, had all the things that took place in very familiar places to Londoners. That made it a bit more frightening, I think. And it had the marvellous Jenny Agutter in it, who was, I know, the object of desire of many men back then, in the 70s, right? The Howling, on the other hand, had Patrick McNee from the Avengers, but was still a good film, right? Oh, that's no problem there. No problem. Then we had Silver Bullet come along. Silver Bullet with Corey Haim. And then we also had, what was the other one that was really good at the time as well? The Company of Wolves. Now as then, 'tis simple truth. Sweetest tongue has sharpest tooth. Starring the marvellous Angela Lansbury in a retelling of an old story, Red Riding Hood, but in exploring its ridiculousness and its ability to tell tales that are scary, and also turning it on its head in many ways. Fantastic transformation scene in that as well, done differently, but again, very, very good. But this has all come from this dream about me being stuck in a camper van with shaving foam being the only thing that I can attack the werewolves with. There is definitely something Freudian going on there, but I don't want to think about it. Right now, so back to Red Riding Hood. It got me thinking again once more about how these fairy tales, Red Riding Hood, is razor sharp in terms of its message to children. It really is. Its message is, beware of men who pretend to be something they're not, i.e. in this case, Granny. Remember the wolf goes, right, let's deal with Granny, then I'll dress up like Granny. This was a story that was told and developed over hundreds and hundreds of years about how men can be dangerous when they pretend to be something they're not. We seem to have forgotten this, don't we? Even though we were told it in childhood. It's also no mistake that when you get some of these LGBTQ hands, knees and bumps of daisy people reading to kids, that's what they choose to pervert. In other words, grandma becomes the bad guy and the wolf becomes the good guy. So we must look after the wolf because we're not being inclusive of the man who's going to dress as a woman. That's what it's about. It's got me thinking about that. So go and have a read of the article. Better still, become a warrior teacher. There's loads going on right now, isn't there? Absolutely loads. But I just had this strange dream and I thought I've got to tell you about it because it was going on in me noodle. And now you've got it as well. I don't know what you were going to do with it, but go and have a look at the article. See what you think. I find the fact that they try to undo such ancient and such absolutely pin-sharp narratives that are an aid to parenting Because even a parent that doesn't understand the nuance of the story or what's actually behind it can use that story, will still get through to the kid. The kid will still say, hang on a minute, if that bloke's pretending to be something he's not, he's something I need to be worried about. This is why trans and queer and all the crap that comes with it must be a safeguarding first lens. It's the only lens we should look at it from. Safeguarding. Right? We cannot allow these sex frauds to do what they're doing. It's that simple. And we've known this for so long that it's wrapped in a story like Red Riding Hood. So if you want to know a little bit of history about the story of Red Riding Hood, where it came from, why it's so important, go and have a look at the article on Substack or Twitter. Other than that, I think that's enough from me for today. I've got Teach today. I'm seeing the warrior teachers. Bless them. And I can't wait. Saw some yesterday as well. We did age, the idea of age, the protected characteristic of age, and spoke about how age influences us and how age is dealt with in different cultures, for children and infants and youth and old people. That was very interesting to do that. And then we looked at the possibility of not aging. The time of the cyborg. Anyway, I'm in an excitable mood this week and I don't know why. I'll see you later. Go and have a great day. Go read my article. Ta-ta!